Alright, so let's get straight into it. Episode number 2 of the podcast. I've not come up with a name for the podcast yet. I think I just like calling it the podcast. I'm not really one for super cool names. So today, it's going to be like a little bit of a blog and just kind of sprang around and see what pops up as I'm going through stuff. I don't like to keep it too structured. I think that you can lose some stuff that you kind of think of in the moment when you're too sort of structured with stuff like this. So what I want to go through is this past week I've had a week off training. I've done one session and that was this morning, and then I've kind of fallen off the healthy eating train. I'm not going to say that I've broken my diet, because I think just as like a little micro bubble, if you go on a diet, if you tell yourself you go on a diet, then at some point you're kind of expecting to come off of it. I think it's way better to just change how you eat, change what things you consume, and then that's thinking more long term. So this week I've not been doing very well. I've been eating a lot of processed foods. I've been eating a lot of things like breads, pizzas, like fries or chips, crisps or chips, depending on where you're from in the world. Just generally like eating a lot of sugar as well. Now the one thing that I am always very consistent with is water. No matter what I'm doing or how I'm eating or where I'm at, I'm always drinking water. Now that for me is just a staple. Like if I don't drink good healthy mineral water, I basically can't go to the toilet. Like literally it just messes my entire system up. So that's something that I am very happy that I've been able to stick with, no matter what, it's always there. So the point of the podcast really is I want to just go through a couple of reasons as to why I think that I've kind of dropped off the bandwagon, and also just kind of expand upon that so that if people watch this, they're going to be able to get something actually useful out of it, and some practical kind of information, things that they can implement rather than only just listening to me waffle on about my life. So really the things that I've kind of noticed with this past week, the main ones are my energy is a lot lower in terms of like physically I feel lower energy. I don't have as much energy. My focus isn't as good. I'm not sleeping as well. I'm definitely finding it harder to fall asleep, which has probably got something to do, one, with the sugar that I'm eating before bed. That's probably one of the biggest factors. But two, I think because I'm not settled, I'm not training, I have a lot of excess chatter at night, whether it's, I don't know what it is, but I definitely have noticed a big difference in terms of like when I'm training a couple times a week and I'm eating clean, I get into bed, I'm asleep straight out. Like I legitimately sometimes can't even remember laying down in bed because I'm out so fast. Whereas especially for like the past 2 or 3 nights, I've been in bed for a good sort of 20 minutes, half an hour, just going round and round. Get up, go to the bathroom, have a drink of water, stand at the window for a couple minutes to try and get cool, and then get back in bed, and then I'm kind of falling asleep. So it kind of all goes into a big cycle because, I sleep rubbish, so I wake up in the morning and I'm a bit groggy, so then I'm more prone to go to the quick fix rather than getting up early, going to the gym, having a good workout, feeling good, and then I eat healthy for the day. I'm kind of waking up a bit like, and then I'm like, I can't be bothered, so I don't go to the gym, and then I'm like, oh, well, I haven't been to the gym, so I'll just get the easy food, and I get the easy food, so then I want more of it, and then I don't go to the gym at night because I've eaten bad all day and I can't be arsed, and then I go home, I have another bad night's sleep, and it just kind of revolves and keeps going round in that cycle, which isn't something that I'm prepared to do for the long term, so I've nipped it in the bud. I woke up on a Sunday morning, rather than, fucking smoking some weed and just getting high and chilling out all day, I got up, went to the gym, I've done a workout, and then I'm going climbing in a little bit as well with a good friend, so I'm going to get almost like 2 workouts in. I'm just not eating any bad food today whatsoever, and then I'm just going to start my week off right rather than sort of allowing it to just carry on stooping in that bad way. So this is from someone who's coming from a place of, I'd say generally like 90 to 95% of the stuff I put in my body and consume, whether it's drink, food, energies that I allow around myself, whether that's literally just like negative people, stay the fuck away from me, or on a more sort of hippie vibe, like, you know, spending more time in nature and just being around the good vibes and meditating and being with yourself and stuff like that. I think all that's got a part of me and who I am. So coming from a place where that's very natural and normal for me to have sort of like a week off and seeing the difference of what I feel like in a week, I thought it might be quite a nice idea to just, you know, give you a little bit of so like I said earlier, some practical stuff that you can do if you're the kind of opposite of that. So if that's just generally how you operate on a day-to-day or week-to-week basis, and you're sort of wanting to break out of that and move towards being higher energy, having more happiness and joy in your life, feeling better within in your body and your mind, just feeling more connected with yourself and not feeling so reactive to things in life. I feel like I have become a lot more easily frustrated, and I'm a lot more like, if I'm a bit stressed or a bit tired, I'll eat something or I'll drink something rather than proactively exercising and eating well and getting good sleep. You don't get tired. It's like you have to put the work in before you see the results with health and fitness and wellness and all that sort of stuff. It's not like I'll go to the gym once I'm fit and healthy. It's like, in order to become fit and healthy, you have to eat right and exercise. Like, you have to do the work before you get the results. So in terms of like actually giving you something that's helpful, I think that it's important, a couple of really basic things. So first of all, you need to make it as easy as you can for yourself. Don't battle with yourself. Because it can be a challenging thing anyway if you're not just in that routine. Like for me, I'm snapping back into my routine and I'm cool. Whereas if I had to sort of try and plan and organise all of this from scratch with no experience or knowledge, it's very fucking overwhelming. And that's one of the reasons why I do promote getting like coaching, training, or purchasing programs of people, or just learn from YouTube. Like, I think it's good to spend money or spend time learning stuff rather than having to take years of experimenting and stuff. You know, just like stand on the shoulders of giants and learn from the people that have spent decades doing it. Which is what I've done, and then I can pass that on to you in an easy to way and free, because it's just on a video platform. So make it easy for yourself. What do I mean by that? So what I would do is, personally, I would try different types of movement, all right, in terms of exercise. So if you're not someone who feels very comfortable in a gym and you haven't got the money to spend on a personal trainer, I would start walking. Go for a walk once every couple of days. Go into somewhere that you're interested in, like if you want to go and see a castle, or if you want to go to the beach, or you want to go to some woodlands, or, you know, anything you want to do. I would start off with something that you find fun and interesting. If it's swimming, go swimming. If you want to start playing squash, go play squash or tennis, or, you know, start doing yoga, or anything that involves moving your body more than how much you currently move is as much of a technical standpoint as you need to look at exercise. I don't look at exercise as you need to go to the gym. I personally like going to the gym, but I don't spend all my time in the gym. Like, I did a quick workout this morning. I'm going to go climbing later on. I'll probably go to the gym maybe 3 times a week, but I'll also like play a little bit of basketball. I'll go for a run. I do a bit of yoga, stretching all the time. I like being outdoors, so I do walks and stuff like that as well. So I'm doing movement, like getting a bit scientific. Your body, your physical body, your muscles and everything inside it doesn't know the difference between you going to the gym and doing exercise, or you going for a run, or you playing basketball, or you going like climbing. All it sees is that your muscles are doing work and they need fuel to keep going, and then they also need stuff to help them repair. Like, your body doesn't give a shit what you do. So you can literally just do something that you find interesting, and then that will be enough. Like, as long as you're moving, you're getting a little bit of a sweat, or you're just feeling nice and warm, you've got some movement going on, that's all you need to do. And I would recommend starting like twice a week. Get consistent with twice a week, do something that you enjoy twice a week, and then it will pull you into it. You know, I'm just going to turn the volume down on this so you can't hear that beeping. When you're enjoying something and it pulls you into it, you're not fighting against yourself, yeah? So that's what I mean about you want to do something something that doesn't make you fight against yourself, because kind of looping this all together, you only have a certain amount of energy that you've got within a day or a week, okay? So if you're using up some of that energy to force yourself to go and do this exercise that you really don't want to do, then you're fighting a losing battle before you've even started, and I just don't see the point in that. So don't force yourself to do some type of exercise that you really don't want to do. And if you say, oh, well, how do I figure out what I want to do? Well, you have to try stuff. You have to go and try archery or axe throwing or long distance running or swimming or scuba diving or tennis or basketball. There's literally a million different things that you can do. You just have to start and try them. Like, I didn't know that I really liked climbing. One of my friends said, oh, do you want to come climbing? I was like, oh, I've never done it before. And they were like, right, well, come and find out. And I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. And then, you know, like, sometimes you just have to explain to you in like a really just go and fucking try it. And now I really enjoy it. Like, it's really good for you. It's super good. You get to move your body in all different ways. They've got a gym there as well. So I like to just do a little bit of a workout afterwards to balance myself out, because obviously climbing is a lot of pulling. You're like holding yourself a little bit, but a lot of it is just pulling. So I like to just balance it out by doing some pushing afterwards. And then that for, like, say if you could only do something once a week and you went climbing, and then you did a little bit of exercise afterwards to just balance yourself out, so you don't just develop all your pulling muscles, you develop your pushing muscles as well. That's great. That's fantastic. That is the best workout you can do, because you have enjoyed doing it and you're going to be consistent. And that's the secret sauce. The biggest thing that you can do is to find something that you enjoy, so you're consistent with it, and then doing a little bit of exercise around that, maybe in a gym, to complement and balance out what you're doing in your sort of fun exercise time. If you can do that, you've cracked it. There's nothing else that needs to be done. Like, period. That's it. So first point you need to do is you need to find something that's going to allow your body to move in a way that you enjoy. All right, that's the first sort of chunk. The second chunk is your nutrition. Okay, now don't worry, I'm not going to start and say you have to eat fucking broccoli for 16 meals a day with like nothing but dry turkey breast and shit like that, alright? I used to be that guy, and it's not fun. It's really not fun. It works, like, fucking really well. Like, if you want to try it out, go on a vegetable-only diet for a week. You can't eat any processed sugars. You can't eat any high-sugar fruits. No carbohydrates in terms of pastas, breads. Obviously, no chocolate crisps, potato chips, sweets, anything like that. And you can only drink water. I drink bottled water because it's mineral water, and I recycle all the plastic bottles. As soon as I've done, don't drink out of them after you've used them, because you can get some nasty toxins in the plastic. And then you want to just focus on consuming healthy foods. So what are healthy foods? Basically, and again, the easiest, most practical advice that I can give you is, if it has a label on it and it has multiple ingredients, then it's a bad food. In fact, one sec, I'm going to just show you an example with this. I'm back. Okay, so what I have, I'm not going to show you the brand because I don't want to get done, is I've got a jar of tomato sauce, okay, just a general tomato pasta sauce. It has mushrooms in as well, this one. And a jar of peanut butter, okay, just peanut butter. So in this jar of peanut butter, what have we got? We've got 96% roasted peanuts, sustainable sourced palm oil, and sea salt. And that's it. There's nothing else in it. So peanuts, a little bit of palm oil, and sea salt. So there's 3 ingredients in that. So that generally is pretty good peanut butter. That's why I buy it. It's a really good brand. So that for me, it would be considered a healthy choice out of, say, chocolate spread, because that, I don't know if I've got any actually. Let's have a look. I don't have any chocolate spread, but what I do have is chocolate peanuts. So let's have a look at the ingredient list for that. So we've got 58% is chocolate, and then you've got sugar. Inside the chocolate is sugar, cocoa butter, dried skimmed milk, cocoa mass, dried whey, and then you've got lactose, butter oil, and then you've got emulsifiers such as soya lecithins, which is a flavouring. Then you've got 41% peanuts. Inside that as well, you've got added on top of that, you've got some rapeseed oil, sunflower oil, glazing agents such as gum, Arabic, and shellac. I'm really bad at pronouncing words. You've got glucose syrup, and then cocoa solids and milk solids. The list of ingredients on that is insane. So like, that's what I mean in terms of the lower the amount of ingredients on the packet, the healthier the food is. Like, and then for example, you can go completely to the opposite end of the spectrum, where you buy an orange or a cucumber or a lemon or meat. Like, as long as you get the meat from a healthy source, like a good butcher's or something, because if you buy it from supermarkets and it's not really like well fed, then you can end up eating a lot of bad food that the animals ingested as well. So that's always worth a point if you do eat meat, that you try and get it from a good source. But you know, at the end of the day, meat, you can get into a whole load of conversation about that. So I'll leave that there. I'll go back to my point. Now the tomato sauce, okay? Tomato sauce, you have tomatoes, which is 53%, so more than half of that is just pure tomato. Then you've got 20% concentrated tomato puree, which isn't great because they might probably cook that and maybe add some extra stuff to it, but 20% of that, so 74% of that is basically just tomatoes. And then you've got 12% mushrooms, 9% onion, a little bit of sugar, onion powder, modified maize starch, and then you've got salt, basil, some acidity regulators, citric acid, and then you've got garlic powder, parsley, oregano, and dried basil. So generally, for the most part, obviously I'm not going to include all the different ingredients, because things like parsley, oregano, dried oregano, basil, what else have we got, onion powder, or actual onion, and mushrooms, they're all one ingredient, yeah? So that's like you've chopped them up and stuck them in there. So things that are actually really bad in that, or I would say really bad, acidity regulators, they don't sound too good. Citric acid, I don't know why they're adding more acid in there if they want acidity. Oh wait, no, I think the acidity regulator is citric acid. That doesn't sound right though, because why would you put an acidity regulator in there if it's acidic? But anyway, I'm not a nutritionist, so I don't understand. But generally speaking, that tomato sauce isn't that bad. There's a few little bits in it, but if you, for example, did, like what I like to do is I get some kind of chicken or turkey, because I just like eating those kind of meats, and then I'll get a whole onion, chop that up, I'll put some extra mushrooms in it because I like mushrooms. And then you've got peppers, you can put some carrots in there, you can put some peas in there, sweet corn. So you end up with, let's say, like 6, 7 or 8 different types of vegetables with your meat, and then you put that sauce in it just to kind of give it a little bit of extra something. If you think about that pan of food that I can cook will probably cook about 4 meals. So then if you look at the amount of sauce in that jar, divide that by 4 and then think about there's only a fraction of that that's bad. In the grand scheme of things, I'm making it easy for myself to eat healthy food, yeah? I'm not cooking 3 times a day from scratch and only eating dry, boring food, because that's fucking hard. And I've got a full-time job, and I see my family and I see my friends, and I've got a social life, and I go to the gym, and I'm self-employed, I'm starting to train people as well. I don't have time to cook 3 times a day. Like, it's just that simple. So I make it easy for myself, and I make an effort to make sure that I cram as much good stuff into that meal as I can, so then that tiny little bit of bad stuff that's inside that sauce doesn't really fucking make a difference. In my opinion, like, obviously you could be a lot healthier and make everything from scratch, but I mean, I just don't have the time for that, and that's something that I'm willing to sacrifice in terms of the balance for what the amount of work that I put in for the amount of benefit that I get. And then that's it. You could maybe have that with some spinach, maybe a couple of different vegetables that you don't have inside of the actual sort of sauce in the pan itself, and then that's it. You just eat foods like that. It doesn't have to be complicated, and in that way you can cook like once a day, once every 2 days. Have, you know, I personally like to eat fruits in the morning with different nuts, so some almonds, some walnuts, and then just have like a handful of like maybe a banana, some blueberries, things like that in the morning, and then I'll have a big meal in the evening, and then that's it. So I don't generally eat a lot of times through the day, but like if you look at my overall amount of food that I eat, I do probably eat quite a lot of food. I normally have a bit of peanut butter in the morning as well, just because I like peanut butter with my banana and blueberries. It's quite a nice staple breakfast for me. Well, when I say morning and breakfast, I don't eat anything until about 12 or 1 o'clock in the afternoon, so I like to fast through the day. Feel like it's really, really helpful for me. Like the things that I said earlier about the energy, I don't actually get hungry. I know it sounds mad, but once your body gets used to it, it's like it knows that it doesn't need the food. And a really big part of that is because I think a lot of people concentrate too much on the amount of calories that they eat, rather than focusing on the quality of the calories that they're consuming. Like, if you eat, say like you eat a cheeseburger. In fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to look up. Let's have a look. See, this is why I don't like planning stuff too much, because I can just let my brain just bounce around. Cheeseburger calories. Let's have a look with bun. Because nobody, let's be honest, nobody eats a burger without the bun. So if you eat one cheeseburger, one plain cheeseburger on the bun, so this doesn't include any cheese or any sauce or anything like that, is 317 calories apparently, like 317 to 350 calories depending on the exact size. So 317 to 350, and that's for one plain single cheeseburger. That ain't filling nobody up, okay? Now let's have a look. Calories in a banana. And I'm not going to lie, like I'd say one normal sized banana will fill you up about the same amount as a single plain cheeseburger. Especially if you're buying one from like a fast food place, then just the meat quality is not great, the bread quality is shit, and who eats that? Wow, so 100 grams of a banana, which I don't know how big a banana is, but apparently it's about 100 grams, is 89 calories. So that's 8, 16, 24, 30. So that's a quarter of the actual calories being consumed. And then that's not even thinking about the fact that you're actually taking in a lot of good minerals that are actually going to help your body. So you're going to pretty much feel the same amount of fullness. You've actually consumed a quarter of the calories, if you do want to count that. And then you've got a lot of extra vitamins and minerals actually being put into the body as well. So that's one ingredient. It's a banana, rather than all of the stuff that goes in the bread and all of the different shit that they put in the meat to bulk it out and all that type of stuff. So if you were wanting to actually practically sort of change how you eat, I would say, rather than counting calories, because it's bullshit. Like, personally, I have never once advised anybody to count calories, apart from if you're counting your specific needs for like a weight competition. So if you need to lose a specific amount of body fat, or you need to get down to a specific weight, then you need to learn how to count it specifically and then chop up the macros and all that type of stuff. But for 99.9% of people that are ever going to sort of want to make this shift for this type of video, you don't need to know how to do any of that. It's way overcomplicated. So what I would do, if you are someone that likes to keep a track of stuff, because if you're someone like me, it's enough to just say, stop eating shit, eat more vegetables, and I'm like, okay, cool, I can do that. I don't weigh my foods, I don't care about the amount, I eat until I'm starting to get full, and then I don't eat, and that's basically it, and that works for me. If you're someone, whoever though, that likes to track something, I would say play a game with yourself and see what the minimum amount of chemicals that you can eat in a day, or the minimum amount of different sort of ingredients, but while also keeping your food groups to as many as you can. So say for example, if you eat a cucumber, I would say that that doesn't count because it's only got one ingredient. If you eat a banana and blueberries for breakfast with almonds, then because it's only one ingredient, that doesn't count. So you can end up having a 0 day. Which if you can go and eat loads of different foods and you end up on 0, your body is going to be healthy as fuck. Like, you will feel amazing, you'll have loads of energy, you'll be sleeping great, your body will be actually changing from the inside, so all your muscles and your organs and your joints are going to be all happy, you're going to feel great, your mental clarity is going to be so much better, and on top of that, you're going to look better as well. Like, can you see how all of this goes into it, a whole system? And it can literally be leveled down to you need to move more than you're moving at the minute, and you need to eat less processed foods and eat more whole foods. And that's it. Like, that's literally as complicated as it needs to be. You can put all the bells and whistles and frills and this and that, but if you really boil it down, and everybody knows this as well, like, this is nothing new, I'm just explaining it in a slightly different way. And hopefully a little bit of a difference in explanation can just make you understand that it can be fun, it can be interesting, you can try new things, and you can also revert. Like, the reason why I have a jar of peanut butter is because I can put it in my bag with my bottle of water, grab a banana from a shop, and I'm sorted. Like, that will literally do me all day if I need to. I don't need to fuck around with eating loads, because when you get used to eating whole foods, your body gets full, and it can rely on you for providing the good food, so it doesn't feel the need to eat continuously. Because those calories that I was talking about in a cheeseburger, they're empty calories. Like, the world and the industry of food has done an amazing job of kind of making people focus on, you need to be concerned about the amount of calories. Like, in the UK, I think the average person should consume 2,000 calories a day. I'm sorry, but if you only eat fruit and vegetables, which are the best foods that you can possibly eat, if you eat 2,000 calories, I mean, well, that was 880 calories, so you would have to eat like something like 20 bananas worth of food in a day. That's a lot. Like, obviously don't eat 20 bananas, but you get what I'm saying, right? Like, if you focus on the amount of calories, you could be overeating but getting underfed. So you're overeating but getting underfed because you're eating too many calories that don't have any nutrition in them. So don't focus on calories, focus on the amount of ingredients in your food. And that's what I said, if you can get to a point where you're eating as much food as you want to eat, but you're on a 0 sort of ingredients list in terms of processed stuff, then holy shit, your life is going to literally change. And you can make that change like that. Like, you can literally just decide today that you're not going to buy any more bad food. You might give yourself a little treat on the weekend, but have one meal. Or have a healthy meal and have a dessert. Everything's in moderation. And don't forget, you've got the choice. You literally have the choice of what goes in your mouth and how much exercise you do. You can't have that excuse you're a fucking adult. You have to take ownership of it, because trust me, you want to make this change slowly and increment it, and you'll feel the benefits and it'll start and lift you up. And that's what I said, if you can use foods and season them and learn how to cook and experiment with different foods, then you start to want to do it because it feels nice to eat these good foods that you've cooked and you've learnt. So then you get pulled into it and you want to cook and you want to try this and you want to eat that meal because it tastes so good and you feel good after you've done it. And then when you've been eating right, you have a good night's sleep and you wake up with loads of energy, so you want to go swimming in the morning, and it starts to feed in, yeah? And that's the whole point. That's the whole game. To get to a place where you can eat healthy and you can exercise in a way that makes you want to do it more. And then you'll keep doing that forever. And then when you're like old and you're like 95 and you can still move and you can dance around and you can play and you can like lay down on the floor and stand up without help, that is quality of life. And that is the entire game. Like, that for me is the end result. The whole reason why I'm doing the podcasts, the TikTok stuff, why I'm getting back into gyms to train people, is to help people have that quality of life the older they get. Because, I mean, what more is there to life than being able to be healthy and enjoy this, like this experience that we have. So I'm not going to get too hippie-fied on you guys. I can feel it coming out of me. So yeah, I hope you've learned something. I hope that there's something in here that just makes something tick for you a little bit, that you might have not thought about it in that way before. So if there's anything that I can help with, if you have any questions, any comments, please leave something in the box below, and I'll speak to you all really soon.